Hi, my name is Elle Billing. I am a chronically ill queer femme, and I'm tired. I'm here this episode and every episode to dig at the roots of our collective fatigue, explore ways to direct our care in compassionate and sustainable ways, and harness creative expression to heal ourselves and our world. And welcome to HORF, Radical Care in a Late Capitalist Hexscape. My guest on this episode is Nat Cummings. Nat is a cosplayer, soon-to-be high school graduate in Chicago, who has also worked in various theater, fashion, and film projects. And they are also part of a teen cosplay internship at the Harold Washington Library. They plan on pursuing a film degree after graduation. I'm really excited to have Nat on the podcast with me today. Welcome to HORF. Hi, Nat. Welcome to HORF.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Yay.
Yay.
I am also.
Yay. I'm excited that you're excited. I have to ask, do you actually listen to the podcast?
No. I kind of forget that it exists until Dad is editing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have a lot going on. You're a busy kid. Teen. You're not a kid. You're a teen.
Yeah.
But your birthday is, I think, the day after this episode comes out. So
yeah, I'll be an adult then.
How do you feel about that? Right? I think we kind of feel that way about you turning 18 too.
Yeah.
You know, you're graduating this year. My goddaughter is graduating this year, and it's just a lot of like, we're not ready for people to be getting done with school.
I'm not either.
Yeah. I remember being your age and being really, really excited. I had senioritis starting in my junior year. And now I look back and I'm like, you fool.
I have too much going on in these next couple months to fall victim to senioritis.
That's probably okay. Although the world's a lot different now than it was 20 years ago, too.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you hear us grumpy geriatric millennials saying that all the time.
A little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, just a little bit.
But you have a pretty good sense of humor about us, I think. So anyway, I'm excited to have you here. For those who haven't picked up on it in the last just little bit of banter, Nat is the almost adult teenager of my partner and co-producer, Ricky, who has been on the podcast and works behind the scenes for this. And I'm really excited to have them on the podcast today. So I'm going to just kick off with the first question, which is, how have you received care this week?
I had therapy on Sunday.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
I still don't know how to answer this question.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Yeah. I started therapy when I was 17, so
yeah,
I get that.
A lot of recently has just been like kind of chilling out after theaters ended because we just closed our show and we like tore down the set and everything like that. And I suddenly have much more free time.
Oh, I suppose that was the last show of the season.
That's the last show I'll ever have in high school, at least.
Yeah.
Basically, I've just been like trying to like chill out since then. There was a lot going on during that show just because of like theater stuff. I can't,
Yeah, because theater.
But yeah, I've been like chilling lately just because I have to lock in on a lot of stuff soon and work on a lot. So like savoring the free time that I have right now.
Right. So what was the show that you did? What was the last one of the year?
It was called Failure Love Story.
Okay.
Which is set in Chicago in the 20s. And it's about this family, the Fail family. Their family owns and like has a clock shop and stuff that they run. And there's this guy named Mortimer.
Okay.
He falls in love with each of the sisters in this family. like one by one, and as he does that, they all die by various means.
Oh, goodness.
The youngest one, which is the first one that he falls in love with, has like a statue fall on her like the day that they're gonna get married.
Oh, my God.
The second one dies because she tried to swim across Lake Michigan to Indiana and basically falls like under the boat that's following her. And then the last one dies of consumption.
Okay.
It's like
That's
mostly
so
a lighthearted.
depressing.
It's a pretty lighthearted show until like the end. Towards the end, it starts talking about a lot like grief and handling that and stuff, and like enjoying the time that you had, like the experience that you had. Very fitting for a senior show.
It is. That does sound really fitting. So you go to an arts high school, right?
Well, it's I mean, kind of like
Kind
there's a
of.
good art program, but it's not just arts.
Okay.
It's there's a very strong like STEM stuff as well. It's a selective enrollment school, which in this school system, like you have to take a test to get in and to have like a good GPA in middle school and stuff like that. I don't know. They've changed some of the requirements to get into selective enrollment schools, but
I got to go see one of your shows over Thanksgiving when I was there, and I was super impressed with like the quality of the production.
which one was that?
Wait Until Dark.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that one was really neat.
that was a good show.
And I'd seen that one done professionally before. And so like I was trying to temper my expectations because I'd seen it, done professionally in Idaho. And I was like, okay, this is a high school show. Like, you've seen this before, but like these are teenagers. And it was so good. Like,
Yeah.
this was really good. Like the fight choreography I was really impressed by how they handled it with high school kids.
For like fight choreography and stuff, we have like a professional come in and train us because we are just teenagers.
Exactly. Yeah. And that Wait Until Dark was pretty intense. But I was like so excited because I knew what was coming and your parents didn't. And I was like, this is going to be so good.
It was really good. I really liked that show. It was the run crew for it was fairly small, which was a little disappointing. But that's okay. I was on the run crew for this show for Failure. I also switched from props to scenic for this one too.
Oh, so you've got to do a lot of the crew.
I also worked on puppets.
Oh, you'd worked on puppets. Yeah.
I worked on the puppets for Failure as well. So like I was kind of doing props and scenic.
Have you done costumes?
I haven't worked on costumes. I'm friends with people who are on our costumes crew, but whenever I have to like sew for something, ironically I tend to get burnt out of it really quickly.
No, I understand what that's like.
Yeah. I would have gotten so sick of costumes, honestly.
No, I understand. But that kind of brings me to what we were going to talk about, also today is you didn't do costumes for the young company, but you do a lot of cosplay. So you have experience with putting together characters and developing costume designs. And so is it okay if we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you remember your first con?
Not really. I remember going to like C2E2 like relatively every year as a kid, but I also don't remember the first time because all of those years kind of jumbled together. I think the only one that I really remember is that one is I think it's the one that you were there for, where I was dressed as Fiona from Adventure Time, and like the voice actor for you were there for that, right?
Yeah, yep, that's the one.
The voice actor for Finn and Princess Bubblegum were both there, and I don't think it was my first time going to C2E2 because the first time I had gone, I probably hadn't even considered. I didn't even know cosplay was a thing. I don't think. And I probably wasn't very aware of what was going on around me because it was the conventions are very overwhelming.
They are. But the one where you dressed as what was the character again? Sorry, Fiona?
Fiona.
Yeah. That was my first con.
Hmm.
Was when we went to C2E2 and I was also overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it was so exciting. Like just the
Hmm.
energy and you were so excited to dress up and I was so disappointed that I didn't have a costume because like I hadn't planned for it.
Yeah.
Um but it was just really inspiring to be around all these people who were dressed up and
Hmm.
I just got so many ideas and wanted to go back and I don't have I gone back to C2E2? I don't think I have.
I
I've been
don't
to
think
Denver
so.
Comic Con, but I don't think I ever made it back to Chicago.
Yeah. I really like going to cons. Like they're super overwhelming, but it's nice. Like the community is nice. Just knowing that community exists.
Mhm.
Like a super nerdy community.
Yeah, so do you wanna tell me a little bit about, like, your favorite, like, characters or costumes that you've done since you got? Because 'cause you're pretty I mean, that was you were like, 9, I think, when we went to
Hmm.
C2E2 together, and you're gonna be 18 next week. Or
Yeah.
this week, I guess, once this releases. So you've had several years of experience.
Tomorrow, once this releases.
So what were some of your favorites that you've done over the last half your life?
um, Most of the time when I've gone to cons in cosplay, it's been ones that mom has helped me work on.
Mhm,
Um, because I didn't know how to sew yet, or like I knew how to sew, I was just scared of a sewing machine.
mhm.
And that basically ended once I started taking my fashion class. But I haven't actually like made all that many full ones of my own.
Mhm.
Just because like the time that I started getting that skill was also quarantine, and conventions aren't really like that, quarantine friendly of
That's
places.
true.
Like people barely wear deodorant there, man. You think they're gonna wear masks?
No, they're not.
They're not. Unless it's part of the character, then they will.
Yeah.
But I remember obviously the Fiona one I was really memorable. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, the hat was so cute. I couldn't handle it.
I still have it. It still fits. I think I also really enjoyed dressing up as Link. It was a Halloween costume for me
Mhm,
originally, and then I just rewore it for a convention in Fort Wayne. I think it was in Fort Wayne. Pretty sure it was in Fort Wayne. I remember seeing another person who was also dressed up as Link, all grown up, and we got a picture together, and it was so nice. And I don't actually know where that picture is anymore, but it was fun. I was very happy.
yeah, that happened when I was in Denver, and I was dressed as Holtzman from the Ghostbusters, and I would see another Holtzman, and there was always, like, that, "Hey!" moment of, like, "Hey, we had"
It's always like the Spider-Man meme whenever you see someone dressed up as the same character that you're dressed as.
Yep,
Spider-Man cosplayers themselves always do that, if because there's always like a billion Spider-Man,
yep.
and they always do that at cons, especially if there's a meetup. I really liked that Link one though, because when I dressed as Link for Halloween, like barely anybody, like I went trick or treating, barely anybody got the character, and some people just confused me for Peter Pan because of the hat.
Oh, I can see that.
We went to this one guy's house, and like this older guy was like, "Are you Peter Pan?" And this younger guy, who was clearly his son, was like, "No, dude, it's Link from Legend of Zelda." But that did not happen at that one convention. It was a very core memory that I think that was a point where I knew that I wanted to do cosplay as a hobby more.
Mhm.
And then I think the first one that I tried to make completely by myself was a character called Party Poison, which is like it was like a My Chemical Romance thing. Because there's this concept album. I mean, they all of their albums are concept albums, but it's this concept album called Danger Days, which is like it's like post apocalyptic, and it's set in like a desert in California, and like there's this main city where dystopian stuff happens, and then there's the desert outside where like cool stuff happens.
'Kay.
And all of the people in this desert are like try to be super colorful and like as what is it called when everything's like the same.
When everything's the same. Like hegemonic? Are you looking for a big fancy word or like just a really easy word?
I don't know what I'm looking for, but like they're
Conformity?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like anti-conformist.
Yeah. And so they make up these like really cool names and they have like really bright colors and stuff and Party Poison is the one that Gerard Way was. And he has like red hair and stuff like that and a cool motorcycle jacket.
Okay, that would have been the year you were asking for brightly colored wigs for Christmas. Probably.
I don't remember, but I remember that one. It was kind of like haphazardly put together because I didn't really know what I was doing, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That was also like the month before quarantine started. So it was like my first time making my own little costume. And then I couldn't really make any more of them for like, a few years.
Yeah.
And since then I haven't really made like a full costume. I mean, I've had like I was Curly for Halloween, Curly from Good Omens for Halloween. And that was like a full costume and I really liked that one. But I haven't really made a full one or like completely tried to make a full one until pretty recently actually. I mean, there was some little like costumey stuff that I had done over quarantine and like I would have like TikTok and stuff and I would like post stuff on TikTok. Which I have now deleted. I've deleted the app because man,
it's easy to get sucked into that stuff.
yeah. There's like a huge cosplay community on like TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that stuff.
Okay, so you have this internship at the Harold Washington Library. And I know it has something to do with like their teen maker space, but I don't really know much else beyond that.
So it's called the internship itself is like this thing called the Chicago Teen Gamers Guild.
There we go.
And the area that we work in is called U Media, which is like the teen, like high school teen area in the library. It's got like gaming stuff. It's got a ton of manga, and there's like sewing machines and stuff in there, and like it's library stuff. I first found out about the internship because one of my friends was part of it. My friend Ren, and I would tag along with them sometimes to the library just because like I had nothing better to do. The library's cool. Let's go to the library. And I ended up kind of sitting in a little bit on one of their like sessions or like meetings. And basically they were working on a bunch of cosplays of their own. And all of them were like super chill. And I ended up helping Ren out with their cosplay a little bit and just kind of hanging out. And then their boss told me to apply. And so late last year, I applied to it. And now Ren's boss is also my boss. And I actually told her about this, and she told me that I should send it to her when it comes out.
Cool.
So what I actually do is the Chicago Teen Gamers Guild is like there's sub guilds in it. And all of those sub guilds work together to put on a gaming convention in June, at the end of June, at the library. And so there's like a bunch of different sub guilds. The one I'm part of is the cosplay sub guild, but there's also one for con planning. There's one for like there's a bunch of game design ones that are scattered all across the city at various libraries there, and they have been working on like interactive games and escape rooms and stuff like that. Last year they made board games. This year they're making escape rooms, so that's cool. There's another one for esports, and they organize tournaments and stuff. What the cosplay sub guild does is we organize a cosplay competition at the con, and we are the ones who are emceeing it. We're not judging it or anything. We have like actual judges.
That's good.
We're also like organizing a couple panels for it. I think we're running one of them that's like all about cosplay and like what we've learned as we've worked on it. And one of the requirements for the cosplay sub guild is that we have to make our own. And the nice thing about it is that I get paid for it.
That's pretty rad.
It is, because usually when you're a cosplayer, you pay large amounts of money to do it all yourself.
It's a very expensive hobby.
Yes. But for this one, we're allocated a budget, so some of stuff can get covered, and I mean, we still have to be careful with the budgeting and stuff like that because, again, expensive hobby. All the materials get pretty expensive, but we have our own 3D printers. We have our own we have a Cricut machine, a bunch of that stuff. We have sewing machines, so we have all the tools that we need to make stuff, and then we also get our materials. And all of us make our own cosplay, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Pretty rad. And then we have 2 adults there who make sure everything goes smoothly.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. So all of the guilds, just to clarify, these are all teen guilds.
Yes.
So these are all high school students.
Yes.
Putting on this entire game convention.
Led by adults.
Guided by
adults.
Guided by adults.
Kind of in a similar way that the Young Company is student run and stuff like that. We still have adults who make sure we don't do wrong stuff.
Break the law or burn down the school.
Or not organize correctly and stuff like that.
Right. That too. Meet your deadlines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I basically have 2 bosses. One of them's Amy, who actually works at UMedia and is a librarian there and stuff like that. And then the other one, coincidentally, also named Ren. That's the one that asked to listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
She is gives a lot more of the advice for making the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's experienced running panels at conventions and volunteering and making cosplays of her own and stuff like that, and so she guides us and stuff with that. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It is neat.
And all the people that I'm working with are very nerdy because it's cosplay.
Yeah, it's a niche hobbyist group for sure.
Yeah, it's very fun. I chose a very ambitious character that I'm cosplaying, but it's a character from Genshin Impact. Which is it's a gacha video game. His name's Kaveh, and the character designs in Genshin are very complicated, and I mildly regret picking it.
If you're gonna go big.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot to work on, but it's fun to work on also because it's the hobby.
Yeah, when I was in Idaho, I had a friend at the time who had a photography business,
mm-hmm.
and he was looking to expand his portfolio. And he said, "Hey, I'm getting some people together to do a steampunk photo shoot.
Oh, that's cool.
For free. I just need people and costumes. I need bodies and costumes. And then you'll get the photos."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, heck yeah. I'm in a free photo shoot and I get to bring my own costumes.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was I did not at that point in time own any steampunk costumes. That's not a problem. I can sew. I've been sewing since I was 7. Okay, You know how much money this free photo shoot cost me?
Large amounts of it.
Several $100s.
Yep.
Invested in building costumes. Because I was like, ooh, I want to go play.
Yeah.
I made 2 full costumes.
Oh my God.
And then I get home at the end and I realize that I am single, I live alone, and somebody else had laced me into my corset. And I couldn't get out of it.
Oh no.
Oh man, it was funny. Yeah. Obviously I got out of it because I'm not still wearing it.
Yeah.
That would be 10 years is really a long time to wear a corset.
It's a bit uncomfortable. I'm sure a lot of that's probably a very universal experience with cosplayers. A lot of them will use corsets and stuff.
Yeah. So C2E2 is in just a couple weeks, isn't it?
It's in 1 week.
In 1 week.
It is next week.
Are you all are all the Gamers Guild, the teen, what is it? The Teen Gaming, Chicago Teen Gamers Guild?
You can just say interns.
Interns, sorry. I wanted to be nice.
Okay. We called ourselves interns.
Okay. Are you all involved at C2E2 this year?
The nice thing about the internship is like there's a couple cons going on at like in the first half of the year that we have field trips to and we get to go for free, which is like really cool because oh my god, these are expensive. Um
Yeah, free field trip. Yay! It's like being in school when school was fun.
I have fun in school. It's just I have a lot to do.
Yeah, there's just a lot to do. Yep.
But there's we have a table set up for the library and it's mainly the adults that are in charge of running that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of us are kind of set loose to experience being at a con. Like the depending on like what like sub guild you're part of, there's like different things that they tell us to like check out and stuff like that. Those of us who are cosplaying were meant to like talk to a cosplayer, ask them how they made it, like take a picture with someone, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also like get the convention experience.
Yeah.
Our con is considerably smaller than C2E2
Yeah.
because you know library, but it's nice having the experience of it and being able to go for free. There's also like a couple people, a couple interns who are part of a panel. I think I don't actually know everything that's going on about that because I missed that week because I was in theater. Oops. But there's some people who are running like a panel or being part of a panel. If the cosplay competition was happening on Saturday, we would probably be asked to go to the cosplay competition, but the main portion of it is on Sunday, I think, and we're going on Saturday. But yeah, it's fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's good.
I am not looking forward to the days leading up to it because I have a lot that I need to work on.
Right. Before we hit record, you were talking about con crunch, and that wasn't a phrase that I'd heard before. Is that what you're referring to? You're not looking forward to the time beforehand?
Yeah.
Is it con crunch? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So con crunch is basically it's a term that's basically used to refer to just like you working on all of the everything last minute because you might have procrastinated it or something like that. And you basically run yourself like as close up to the deadline as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have a lot going on. Like there's like a school event that I'm going to the Friday before. So like I obviously won't be working like right up until the night before. But for me, I have a lot of my life has been taken up by theater in the past like 2 months. So I haven't had a lot of time to like work on the costume that I'm gonna have for C2E2. Who is different from the one that I'm working on for the internship. Like the one that I'm working on right now is like purely for the hobby. It's N from Pokemon Black and White. And thankfully he has a very simple outfit. There's just like some alterations that I need to make, and there's a lot of stuff going on with his wig that I need to work on. Thankfully I have free time again.
Yeah.
So that's I'm gonna end up working on that like this week up until C2E2. I mean, you know how procrastination works.
I'm well aware, both personally and with teenagers, because I was a high school teacher.
Yeah,
and I used to be and I was a teenager. What am I talking about? Mm-hmm. You mentioned con crunch, and then I was like, so it's similar to Hell Week with theater, like the week before opening. But
yeah,
when I was your age and younger, I was doing a lot of 4-H and other like sewing competitions. And fair week, like the week before like the fair, was always frantic around our house. And talk about last minute, there were times where mom was driving to the fair and we were sewing buttons on in the car.
I've heard of a lot of stories of cosplayers doing stuff like that. Like a lot of them will like a lot of people will travel to go to a convention, right? And so they'll book a hotel room, and because we're all broke, it'll be like a bunch of people in one hotel room, and there's like I've never experienced this. People have had like a bunch of miscellaneous craft supplies kind of everywhere, like last minute sewing something together, last minute styling a wig, literally like the evening before, which that seems awful.
I think one of the things that's really different and difficult to like cosplay and like theater costuming. Like it just has to hold together and look good from the
Mhm.
outside. Like when I worked in the costume shop in college, or like they would get after me because I would take too long because I was worried about like the quality of my workmanship. They're like, it
Mhm.
just if you can't see it from the back of a galloping horse, doesn't matter. Like it's
Yeah.
from a you see it from a distance. Like no one looks at the inside of what you made. It's
Mhm.
just the outside. But like when we were driving to the fair, like someone's going to be looking at the inside of this. They're going to be looking
Mhm.
at how well I sewed on that button. I better trim all my threads, make sure I did a good job.
I
I
mo
can't imagine trying to put together. Yeah, I mean it's similar types of stress. Like
Yeah.
I would have much rather have been doing it the little more slapdash. Just make it
Yeah.
look good. Have fun doing it.
I think craftsmanship wise, I think that's more of like a bigger concern specifically if someone is entering in a costume like a cosplay competition.
Yeah. And that's not to downplay the craftsmanship, sorry.
Oh
Not
yeah.
of like really dedicated cosplayers.
Yeah.
I've seen some
Mhm.
incredible work at the couple conventions I've been to.
Yeah. It's oof. I cannot it's so cool. Um
This is just a completely different type of making
yeah.
than what I was used to.
Mhm. And especially with like having ADHD at the same time makes that like a billion times worse.
Yes,
Um,
I am
because
aware.
yeah, you never know how long something's gonna take to make, or you just kind of ignore how long it takes to make something, and then surprise, it's stressful.
It is. So you've done cosplay, you were part of the young company, and you did scenic and props.
Mm-hmm.
You took film class and fashion classes in high school. How is all of this sort of playing into your future plans?
I am planning on getting a degree for film. I've actually made a decision now. I'm going to DePaul for film,
Great.
DePaul University, and so a lot of that kind of like ties into like visually designing a film, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um because like when it comes to my fashion class, we have to make a mini collection and like that all has to be cohesive visually in some way or they have to tell a story or something like that. With cosplay, it's like the craftsmanship aspect and like all these little details and stuff or like being creative with it like cosplay is whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
The fun thing about cosplay for it is you like kind of break down how things get put together and stuff, which is helpful in that regard. Props for theater, I'm gonna be honest, did not enjoy that very much. um just because it was a lot of sitting and looking at Amazon on the floor in the corner of the back of the arts building at my school. I got kind of sick of it, especially for our fall show, our last fall show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of why I switched to scenic because I wanted something that was a little more hands on.
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoy making props and stuff like that, but I get more enjoyment out of it when I'm the one that's making it and I'm making
Mm-hmm.
it for myself and things like that. It's a little bit more difficult when you kind of have to figure out something from text, I guess. Like the skills that I learned prop wise in theater are helpful. I oof, not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then scenic was helpful in the way that you learn like construction and stuff like that. You know
Yeah.
how things get built and put together. My fashion class also helped a lot with learning how to actually construct things and like sew and not be scared of a sewing machine and know how different tools work and stuff like that. And it's basically I've just done a ton of visual stuff.
Mm-hmm. And all of it's part of that whole storytelling package.
Yeah. When it comes to film, like there's a ton of things that you can do with film.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, no idea what I'm planning on doing.
Oh, you have time to decide.
Well, yeah. And I can always probably jump between things too. I've jumped through a lot in my film class of like doing production design for one film. I've done cinematography for another. And the film that I'm currently working on, I'm the director for, which is kind of like a little bit of everything, and also like being in charge of it, which is a little stressful. It helps a lot with like the practical aspects, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be learning a lot more about the, I guess, less practical aspects. I don't. Well, practical is in like physically like non-digital stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be learning more about the digital stuff in college.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, it's a good hobby, and also I'm probably gonna keep cosplay as just a regular hobby to do because it's fun to work on. It's fun to dress up as these characters from really nerdy thing like shows and movies and stuff. And even more fun like with friends.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I, for one, am excited to see what you do
Mm-hmm.
and be able to say that I knew you when. Okay. You know what? I said I wasn't going to embarrass you and like do that thing where like I was going to treat you like a regular guest and not like family. And now I'm
Jeez.
like, I'm going to say I knew you back when you were a kid. And that's exactly what I would say to somebody in my family. I'm sorry I lied. I tried. I really did.
I'm sorry.
Well, let's see. We had cat barf. We had
Oh, God.
me being embarrassing. Anything else? Anything else? I think we're good. Thanks for being here, Nat. It was great to
Of
talk to you.
course. It's good as well.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Hoof. To view the complete show notes and all the links mentioned in today's episode, or to get a full transcript of the episode, visit hoorfpodcast.com. That's HOORF podcast.com. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you can receive new episodes right when they're released. And if you're enjoying our podcast, I'd love to have you leave us a review in Apple Podcasts. Reviews are one of the major ways that Apple ranks their podcasts, so even though it only takes you a few seconds, it really does make a difference for us. Become a patron. For $3 a month, you can support the creation of this podcast, pay my editor, and join a community of fellow caregivers out here just doing our best. Thank you again for joining me, Elle Billing, in this episode of Hoof. Until next time, be excellent to each other. Hoof is hosted by Elle Billing at Elle and Wink. Audio editing by Ricky Cummings at Ricky Poo. Music composed by Ricky Cummings. Hoof is a production of Elle and Wink Art Studio, all rights reserved. Hoof Podcast can be found on social media channels at Hoof Podcast, at HOORF Podcast.
Guys, bow.
Is my cat being a dork?
Yeah. I'm gonna go pick her up. 1 second. She didn't want to be picked up. She just kind of ran off.
She just wants to create mayhem.
Yeah.